Hello live coders, we are back with session number 2 of creating the LC benchmark application. So as you can see, I made a fresh copy of our file so that we don't lose the progress that we've made no matter what happens. So let's start. First, what we'll do is just talk about what we're going to do in this session. And the plan is just to create the various sort of interfaces of our 5 different pages that we have. So we're going to create a couple of grids, we're going to modify the settings, we're going to fix the about page a little bit, and so we'll do a bunch of stuff dealing with aligning controls and creating dashboards and all sorts of stuff. So the things I'm going to show you in this video are all basically equally applicable to any kind of dashboard or interface that you want to build for your application. Our application is fairly simple, but the simplicity doesn't stop me from showing you the alignment and positioning tools which we are working on today. So let's just get started. Okay, so we have completed a custom navigation which we will fix in the last session and make it a lot nicer and better, but for now it enables us to navigate our different cards that we've created. So why don't we start by fixing this page. First, what we want to do is basically fix this overlap that we have going on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the custom properties of the application logo, to the align me property, and we're going to look at what we have. Currently, the top of this logo image is aligning to the bottom of a pin graphic, which exists on every card in the card content group. It is used for creating the limits of the group. So it's a positioning feature which you can use for aligning, or you can just not use it at all. So in our case, what we want to do is we want to align the top of this image to the bottom of one of our buttons. So this button is called benchmark. It's a group benchmark. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna go bottom of group benchmark of group custom navigation. Whenever you are using this align me property and you want to test it, okay, it's important to first save your work and then just do a small movement to see if it works. Because if you make a spelling error, for example, and you try to move it and you make a big movement, you're gonna be waiting a while, because this is what happens. Watch. So if you make a big movement, the engine will have to do a lot of these in order to run through the repositioning that we did of the window and also displaying the error. See, even a small movement creates a big issue. So basically what you want to do is you want to not make mistakes in this. Otherwise, it's quite time consuming, especially if you make a big movement when it comes to the resizing. So so let's go fix it so we don't deal with it again. Custom navigation. There we go. And here we go. So if we want to add a space to this alignment, we just put space 10. and then there's going to be a gap of 10. And you can see all the other controls move down as well, because they are all referencing this top logo. So that's cool. You can also put a negative. Let's put negative 50. And you will see that we get a negative movement. So, and you can actually use any reference here that you need that turns into a numerical value. So let's just go plus 10 and leave it that way. Let's now change the text of our box. I've written a little blurb here, which I will just paste in here. Again, we change the my HTML text property. We don't just go and change the text in the field, because so sometimes when you change these things, they update themselves. So what you want to do is when you paste it, you want to just go exit the field so that the field gets saved. That's one of the little quirks. But anyway, so what we'll do is we'll use a little HTML tag in this text just to make it a little bit nicer. Okay, so now when we come back, leave and come back, everything is going to be nicely aligned. Huh, interesting. That is really interesting. Oh, we don't have any breaks, page breaks in our text. So we're just gonna put some in. So BR is the tag for a line break. And let's fix this. Sometimes you might want 2, but we're just gonna go like this. And let's see. There we go. Now we have some breaks. We might fix this later. But again, we're having an issue here with this, where when we load the card, this is not correctly aligned. So we're not going to worry about that now. We're going to fix that later, probably in the 4th episode. Okay, so let's now go to our settings page. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to remove this filtering field. So we're going to delete the search icon and the filter settings field, which is, I know you can see it, the fields behind here, the icons right there, icon, field. We're gonna just delete them because we don't need them. Okay, and now we're gonna have to leave and come back. Okay, so now when we come back, we get an error where it is trying to do a do command, and the command is do this alignment. So this is what happens when you go to a different card, but there's an error in the referencing of the align me properties of one of the things on the card. So in our case, the error is with this big group, which is visible here, application settings control group. If I select it, you can see this is this entire group and all the settings are within it. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the property inspector. It's important to recognize the kinds of errors that you'll get in the App Starter stack when you're working with it. Once you get familiar with the kinds of errors, then you're like, oh, okay, not a big deal. So errors are not necessarily bad. And you can see that the top of this group is aligning to the bottom of the filter settings field, which we just deleted, which explains the error that we're getting. So what we're going to do is we're just going to replace this with top. Okay? And then when we leave, I don't know what's going on. When we, oh, it's because this is still in debugging mode, so we want to stop it. But now that we fixed the reference, we can just come back. Oh, and we're having some kind of error here, or update me of the settings card. Okay, so you can see that the error we're getting is in the card settings. Okay, it's not a big deal. We're going to go to it, we're going to edit the script, and here we are, we're inside the script, and this is just referencing a field that is no longer here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just delete this, because we don't want anything updating on our card. So now when we leave and come back, we will get no error and everything is fine, except we forgot that we need to put this group to the bottom of our button, not to the top. So now we're going to use, instead of just top reference, if we use the top reference, it uses the top of the card content group, which is always the top of the stack. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to reference the top of me, comma, and then bottom of group benchmark of group custom navigation plus 10. So let's check for spelling, and yeah, let's now do a tiny little movement. Boom. Okay, good. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to look at, we're going to save our work. We are going to now see the settings that we need. So the 4 settings that our application needs: full screen, well, we already have that. We have a field for a username, a field for the email, and a checkbox for including metadata when we submit our results to the cloud. Because our benchmarking application will allow us to send our results and save them in the cloud so that other users can download them and have a comparison to their own results. So that's why we have that checkbox, although I'm not sure at the moment what the metadata will contain. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do a quick look at these settings, okay? Each of these is a group that has a behavior code, but also has a custom boilerplate code, which we will use to to basically save our setting. So let's open up the full screen mode setting, and you'll see here that there's some code. What happens, there's code that runs when it's checked, and there's code that runs when it's unchecked. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is we're going to just look at what we need. We need 2 fields and 2 checkboxes, and we're gonna get rid of everything else. So so one more thing I wanted to show you. On this page, the settings do not reference each other when it comes to the aligning. So if you see, if we select the second one and we go to the align, the vertical property is just follow. So that means it follows the property above it. So we don't need to worry about references going wrong. So what we can actually do is we can just delete the controls we don't need. So we're gonna delete, we're gonna click here, we're gonna delete that one, we're gonna delete that one, we're gonna, well, you know what, let's leave this stay on top, because, you know, it might be useful. Let's delete this one, let's delete this one, let's delete this one, this one, this one, this one, and these 2. But before we can resize this and snap these to each other, we need to leave and come back. So we're going to leave and come back. Okay, now we have an error. Oh, we have a piece of code in the card settings that references something that we deleted. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna delete that code. It's referencing the setting that was choose reading voice. So we're gonna delete that. And what this was doing, this was actually loading the voices that are available on your system, and it was putting them into the box, making them available. So we're actually just gonna delete that code. And this is the kind of stuff you're gonna have to do just to customize your card. But it's good we're running into these issues, because then you don't have to be scared when they happen for you. So let's leave. Oh, let's finish. Let's leave and come back. And now the settings have all snapped to follow each other. And now we have what we need. So let's save our work, because we made progress and there's nothing crashing. What we need to do is we need to add 1 field checkbox and add 1 checkbox, 1 field setting and 1 checkbox setting, and then we will have our settings set. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna edit this group. We're going to just select and we can't grab control drag. So what we need to do is we need to actually select these, select these 3, go to here, uncheck that, okay, and now we can drag and copy. Okay, so we're gonna rename this one to be your email. Okay, and then we needed a second checkbox to say include meta data. Okay, and notice we're not doing anything with alignment or sizing, whatever. We're just changing two properties in each of these. The name of the group, just so we don't have double names. And we're also going to change the my language string, which we want to say your email. Okay. And then we want to change this to include metadata. Okay. And now we're gonna exit group editing just by going to browse using the browse tool. Now our controls disappeared because remember, these settings are inside of a group which is not sized appropriately yet. So now all we do is we leave and come back. And now our new fields are there. The group has expanded itself and the settings have followed. So we're going to save our work because we succeeded. And now we're going to, I don't like the order in which this is showing up. So again, we are going to do the same thing we did with these custom navigation buttons, and we're going to, again, we're going to fix that later. I have to just ignore it. But the alignment bothers me when we go to the card. So we're just going to change the layers of these settings, and that's how we're going to change their sequence. So we're going to edit our settings group, because remember, these are grouped together. So we're going to edit that group. If we just edit the card content, then we would have to still enter this group before we can change the layers. So we're just going to go straight there. Edit group. So the full screen can be first. I'm fine with that. So that's layer 2. Because remember, there's always a pin. Sorry, the layer 1 of this group is actually its background. So that's why the full screen is layer 2. And then the name would be layer 13 and 24, 36. So what I want to do is I want to put the stay on top to be second. So that'll make it second. And then the name will be third. The email will be fourth. And the metadata will be fifth. Perfect. When we change the layers, we don't have to come back. We could just resize. Maybe we do. Okay. And now it's correctly sequenced. So we are done with that. But what we want to do, we just want to save first. So let's now continue with the progress. I did notice that this misalignment in our custom navigation bar is not caused by our resize handler, but it is actually caused after we click on a button. So let's just quickly have a look at the code here. You can see that there's a disable me button that's currently grayed out, but sorry, not button, but command, which disables the button once it's clicked to prevent double clicking, which is not always important, but sometimes it is. Some people have a habit of just double clicking stuff, and that would make code run twice. So we disable our button and then enable it back at the end of the handler. You might find that this is sometimes annoying when you're debugging the handler of a button, because it doesn't finish and it leaves the button in a disabled state. So then you have to select the button and then uncheck the disabled. So that was the reason why that was commented out. But when we do have it, you'll see that at the end here there's an enable me command, and then that goes into the behavior of the button, and then there's a resize me handler, which does the resizing operations. And if we just disable this, and then we click on the button, oh wait, that's interesting. That's not really supposed to happen. Oh, it's because this one also does the resizing. So if we disable this, this will no longer happen. So now, when we click on these buttons, that issue no longer happens. But let's check our other buttons if by any chance this has affected them. So maybe let's go to the info page and try one of these. See, that's why the resize me command is in there, just to realign the button when a page is refreshed. So what we'll do, and this is good, this was not planned, but we're getting to know the code base so that errors don't scare us. So again, we'll re-enable these two handlers inside the button behavior, and what we'll do is we will we still want to prevent double clicking. So what we'll do is we'll put set the disabled of me to true, and then we'll copy that over, and then we'll set the disabled of me to false. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll just copy this for each one of our buttons super quickly, and that will solve our issue. So this will just take a second. And then that way we will not get double clicking and not get our resizing issues. Let's get back to working on our application now. So one of the main purposes of doing this series is just to get you comfortable with designing interfaces. So really this is all that this is about, because the code aspect of your application is really dependent on what your needs are and what your application is. But the dashboards and forms and interfaces that you need to build, they all are basically can be designed using the features of the App Starter Stack. So what I'll do now is I will add some controls to this page or this card, and this versus card will have two side-by-side fields in it, and we'll be able to place code in each field and then have the code run and compare which form is faster. And I think that'll be a useful tool when you're testing different forms of the same handler, just to see if there are any significant speed ups or slowdowns. So, you know, it might not be the most useful tool, but it's useful to us because we get to create a little interface for it. So let's do that. So anytime we add controls to our cards, we put them into the card content group, because inside that group the properties will be picked up, and the controls can get aligned to our interface. So in this interface, what we'll do is we'll add a graphic first, and I'll tell you the reason for this in a minute. We'll add a graphic first, then we'll add a scrolling field, and then another scrolling field, and then we'll come out of here. We can select this, we can copy just to get a button into our group. So we'll go back into the card content group, we'll paste the button in here, move it down, and what we'll do is we'll change the align me property so that we don't get an error when it's trying to reference this. This will not be found because we're not in the same group as the navigation buttons. So we'll just put left here. Okay? We will exit editing. We will save our work. Well, that didn't work. Control S. There it is. Okay, that worked. Okay, so now we have these controls in here, but they are not picked up yet. This one will get picked up if we leave and come back. Also, it's behind here. So what we'll do is we'll just change what we need to change about it. We'll change the name of it. We'll go run. We'll call it run. Maybe 1, because we'll have 2 of these buttons, 1 for each of the fields. And then what we'll do is we'll change its color. We'll go to my color, and we're using the material design convention here. I'll provide a link to a list of these colors, but I just find this to be very useful, and we'll put this to the bottom instead of the top. So now our button will go down there, and when we go into the script, we'll just clear this out so it doesn't leave our card, and when we click on it, the color will update itself as well. So now we have a button, we have 2 fields, and a graphic in the middle. So what I want to do with this graphic is actually we're gonna use it as a tool for aligning these 2 fields. Just a sip of my coffee here. So we'll call this middle, and we'll go into the custom properties, and we'll add 3 properties. One will be I am. The I am property signifies that this is an app starter stack control, and that the stack should take its properties into consideration. So we'll just say control, because that's all it is. It's not a setting, it's just a control, which this is the value that you will use most of the time. So next we will do align me, and then we will go center and center, so that our graphic goes dead in the center. And then add another one called my size, and we will make it 10 pixels wide and 50 pixels tall, which this doesn't really matter because this will not actually be visible. So now, how big do we want these fields? So I'm gonna go add the IAM custom property control, and then I will add the align me property, and then I will go so the reason why we added the graphic first is so that it would be first in our layer. So then we don't have to rearrange our layers, and then we can use this center graphic as a reference. So I'm going to go, we're gonna go right of me, will snap to the left of graphic middle, which I think is what we named it. And then I'm just gonna center it vertically for now. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. Sometimes when you are working on custom properties and you tab into this after creating a new property or after naming a key, it goes back into the key name. So you'll see me struggle with that a time or two. And I'll show it to you again. So I'm naming the property, I'm clicking tab, but then it goes back to there. So you have to hit tab twice. So it was, so this time we're gonna snap the left of me to the right of graphic middle. Okay. And then we will add a, actually that's it for now. Let's leave and come back. And we have an error. So let's see. Well, it looks like we made a mistake somewhere in our align me property. So this is part of what is good about leaving and coming back, is that you get an error if you made a mistake instead of getting that pop-up error that I demonstrated earlier. So let's see. Let's check our controls. So it looks like the middle aligned well. It looks like this one aligned well, but it doesn't look like this one did. So let's see. Oh, it's because we did not specify a vertical alignment, and once we do, it will be just fine. So now you see that both our fields are snapping to our middle graphic, and what we can do is we can actually hide this. So we turn off the opaqueness and we put the line thickness to 0, and now the thing in the middle will be invisible and our fields are snapping to our middle graphic correctly. So next, well, let's save our work because we succeeded in our task. Now let's resize our fields. So back to custom properties, and we're gonna add a my size property, and we're going to say, let's go with 75% of the size of our window. Oh, sorry, we need to put 0.75. That's horizontal, and then, oh no, this is horizontal, so it needs to be less than 50%. So let's go 40, and then vertical, let's go 75%. And now our field will change. See, there you go. So let's do the same thing for our other one, and add a my size property, paste in there. Okay, alrighty, so now what we want to do is we want to put this underneath here. We're gonna change the label, which is my language string, to run script 1. We're going to actually make a copy of this button, and we're gonna say run script 2, and we're going to what we'll do at first we'll put this button to the right of its field, and then this button to the left of its field, but we might change that later. So we'll go right of me to the right of field, what did I name this field? Okay, we didn't name our fields, so script 2 for this one, and script 1 for this one. Okay, back to our button. So this one will be called run script 2. This one will be called run script 1. And now let's work on our alignment. Okay, so the right of me to the right of field called script 2. And then let's copy this so we don't have to retype everything. And we go left of me to the left of field script 1. Okay, so now when we resize this, this one is not registering because we duplicated it and we have not yet left and come back. And now that we did that, this one is also correctly being recognized. So I don't really like how these buttons are aligned. We're going to save our work, and then we will realign these to be in the center of these buttons, of these fields. So let's do that next. Okay, so to do that, we will demonstrate another great feature of the app starter stack. So in our align me custom property, what we want to do is we want to get really specific on how to align this button to this field. So actually we're going to do a little math, and math is sometimes scary, but we're going to learn what it is. And we want to center this button below this field. So what we need to do is we need to say left of me, and then comma, and then we actually use some live code script to do our math. So we're going to use the round command function, sorry. We're gonna use our brackets, and then we're going to put into here another set of brackets, and I'll show you, actually, let me take this out and put this into a notepad so that it's easier to see, or maybe just the script editor. So I can paste this. And then this way we get some coloring and it makes it easier. So what we want to do is we want to calculate how to center this button below this. So it's pretty easy. So we need to find a difference between this field and the button. Okay? So we'll put first the width of field script 2 minus the width of group run script 2. This is our field. This is our button, and we now figured out the difference in their size. So what we want to do is we want to actually divide the difference into 2, because we are basically cutting this distance from the edge of this to the edge of this into 2 so that we can then center it. This is just math, and I'm teaching it to you because it's very useful. So we want to divide by 2. Okay, but then we're going to put this into brackets, and we're going to round it so that if our division creates a number with a decimal point in it, that decimal point gets taken out. Okay, so we have that, and then we also want to start the position at the left of the field. So we go left of field script 2 plus this. Okay, so we are now going to complete our align me command. So let's go over this. So again, this line will go into this align me property and be used to align the button to the field. So let's look at it. So it takes the left of the button and then calculates, starting with the left of the field script, calculates the middle point by first calculating the difference, dividing it by 2, and also rounding it off. So let's see if this works, shall we? I've never actually tried this super duper complicated alignment script, but let's see. Yeah, it works. Now you can see that our button is centered to the middle. So you can rewind the video and watch this over again, watch the explanation of why that code works. But what we're going to do is we're going to copy that, and we're going to put it into our first button as well. But we need to change some of its properties because our field name is different, script 1 and run script 1. So again, I'm showing you shortcuts, how to work with the app starter stack. Okay, awesome. So I think this is cool for now, and we'll move on to the other pages. Actually, I'll show you one more thing on this page that you might come across in creating your interfaces. So let's go into one of our fields and go to the My Size, and let's make it big. Let's go and make it 98% of the height. And you'll see that when we resize, sometimes you might get controls that are aligned using percentages. They might end up overlapping. That everything's fine when the window is tall, but when we make the window smaller, the button starts overlapping, and these things start overlapping. So what we can do is actually, again, we can use some code to make sure that that doesn't happen. So let's go to the align me of our field, script field, and let's go and do some code, some typing. So, no, sorry, the My Size. Okay, so here, what we can do is we can say the height of group card content. So now let's resize, and our field is made the whole to match the height of the group card content. But we don't want that. So we want to actually subtract something from it. So we can put an amount here. Subtract 100, and it'll subtract 100. But again, we're going to get some overlapping. So what we want to do is we want to be precise. So we're going to minus the height of group benchmark, which is this one here, and they're all the same, so I'm just using this one as an example. The height of group benchmark, which is button benchmark, of group custom navigation, and then plus the height of button. Again, sorry, I make the same mistakes that you might make. I'm thinking of a button, but it has to be a group. So run script 2. So now it's going to add up the height of the benchmark button and the run script button, and then subtract it from the height of the card content, and it'll then assign that height to our field. Let's see if that works. Well, we've not updated it. Yeah, we are going to be waiting here a little bit because we made a mistake in our code, and now we are going, and we made a lot of movements, so it'll just take a second. You can fast forward this part because I'm not going to start over to avoid this. You will probably have this happen in your work. So I didn't follow my own advice of doing just a little movement. But see, there's an error somewhere in our code, and I can see it now. Okay, we forgot that. A quote. Okay, let's try again now. And now, the height of our field is exactly the difference between these two, and it fits right in the middle no matter what we do to our windows. If that's not useful, I don't know what is. If we want a little gap between them, what we do is we just minus something from this number. Now we have a gap of 10 on each side because we minused 20. What we need to do is we need to match this to this. Match the left one to the right one. So let's go to the My Size property and sorry, I'm just having some issues here. Copy this line, and we can just, I think, paste it in because it should work because these two are just supposed to match. So there you go. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so let's save our work. So again, it's easier to test your alignment properties by leaving and coming back versus trying to resize, because when you resize you get those pop-ups which take a long time to clear sometimes. So if you're gonna do it, just do it small motion to see if everything went okay. So let's save our work and let's carry on with the next part. Okay, so let's now work on our benchmark page. And actually, let's steal our button while we're here. And let's go to our benchmark page. Let's open up the card content group, edit the group, paste our button. Let's name it run benchmark benchmark. Let's change our align property so that it doesn't reference the controls on the other page. So let's just go and center it. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it, 40% of the width and 60 pixels high is fine. Let's change the language string to say run benchmark. Okay, exit group editing, leave, come back. Now our button is bigger, it has the right label. And we'll change the icons later. I'm not super good at remembering the names of the icons, so I think we'll do that in the last part when we are just wrapping everything up and making everything look good. So next what we'll do is we'll add a we need a kind of data grid here. So we have several options in live code. We have the data grid, we have a text field that we could use with a grid sort of option enabled, or we have the polygrid, which I've never used, which I think I want to use in this project. So I'm going to add the polygrid into our card content group. Don't look at the project browser when we are in group editing, because it doesn't look correct. When we exit group editing and unfold, then everything will be in its proper place. Okay, so now we're gonna do what we always do with our controls. We're gonna add some properties. I am control. We're gonna add a align me control and a my size control. Okay, so how big do we want this to be? I would like to make it almost the whole, use almost the whole available space that we have. So what I'll do to make life easier, I'm going to go to our other page. I'm going to steal the code from here, just so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So my size, and we'll put, we have to change the names of these. So the group benchmark is fine. This button, it's referencing that. And then we need to reference the button run benchmark. Okay. And we want to use 95% of the available width. So we're gonna have a little gap in our height and a little gap in our width. Let's see if this works. There we go. So now we want to align the grid to, maybe, let's go top of, no, the first one is the horizontal, the second one is the vertical, top of me, and then let's say bottom of group benchmark of group custom navigation. Okay. Top of me, bottom of group benchmark of group custom navigation, and then let's put a little gap in there. Okay, so this should work. There we go. Okay. So let's have a look at our application. Our benchmark page has our grid, which will list all our benchmarks. Our versus page has two script fields and two buttons aligned perfectly to one another. Our results browser page is going to have a similar interface to this page. So what I might do is I might just edit the group, select these. For some reason multiple selections get cleared when you try to right click. So edit, copy objects. We're going to go to this page. We're going to edit the correct card content group. Paste. Okay, that worked. And now we want to change the name of this to download results. Okay. And also we're going to change the string to download results. Okay. We're going to just to make sure, yeah, we need to change the reference to this button in our polygrid to not reference the button that is on the other card. Okay, and also what I'm going to do is I'm going to control drag, and I'm going to rename this to, no, actually, no, we won't. I will put the submit results button on the other page. So, okay, so let's exit editing mode, and let's see. Yep, everything's working fine. See, our application now has a lot of the controls that it needs. Let's save our work. And let's wrap up our session by adding a button to this page. Actually, more than a button, because we need a field to reflect our score. So we're gonna go and name this score, and we're gonna add our usual properties. Put bottom, left, let's just put left. No, we'll go left of me, left of widget benchmarks. I don't know if I've named this widget yet. No, it's not named benchmarks yet. So let's change it. We want to always make sure that our references are correct, because otherwise we're going to have errors. So the left of me to the left of widget benchmarks, and then the bottom. Okay, that'll work. Let's change some font properties. We're going to learn about fonts later. We're going to just put a number here. I don't know exactly what the result score will look like, but that's good. Let's just make it look nice. Let's add a drop shadow to it. Let's make it fast. Okay, and let's give it a bit of a... Okay, that's good. I'm fine with that. Actually, they say to only ever use a shadow at about 50%. Okay, and then let's change the color to like something cool. See, I have my Time Savers toolbox here, which has the material design colors built in. Let's change it to this one. So let's copy the hex. Actually, I don't know if I can assign a my color property to this. Yeah, I don't think I can. We're gonna have to just skip that for now. Okay, let's finish adding our properties. So the size of our field should be the same size as our button. So I think it was 60 pixels. 60 pixels high, and let's just put 25% of the width. Okay, so let's exit editing mode, and we need to leave and come back. Okay. Let's see what we're missing. Oh, we're missing the I am property. That's right, our alignment and sizing is not being picked up. So let's leave and come back. There we go. Okay, now you can see our score is... so maybe I'm going to align this to the right of the grid. Right of me, right of widget benchmarks. No errors, no errors. Boom. Okay, this gives us the space here that we need. I also wanted to... You know what? No, I am going to put the submit results button onto the other page. So let's do that as the final step of this session. Let's save our work. And then let's align this. Let's rename our widget first, our polygrid widget, to results. Okay. And then let's align our button to left of me, the left of widget results, and then okay, and then we want to copy this, so we have in our clipboard. Okay, and then we're gonna edit our card. We're gonna select and drag another button. We're gonna rename the button. Whoops, sorry. We're gonna rename the button to be submit results. Okay, and we want to change the color of this. We want to change the color to, like, let's go amber. Okay, and then we want to change the language string to submit results. Okay, and then we want to align it to the right of our widget. So the right of me to the right of widget results. Exit group editing, leave and come back, and here we are. So save our work. Let's actually change some icons as the last step of our session today. So we'll go to the custom properties of our download button, and we'll use the download preset. And then I don't know the names of the icons all the time, so what I do when I don't know is I drag a SVG onto the canvas and I look up what I need. So we're looking for the upload button. There. Oh, it's cloud download. Cloud download and cloud upload. So let's change this one. Cloud download and cloud upload. And we can delete that. And then actually I want to change this color to be different from this. So let's look one up. I wanted a more kind of reddish color, which would be cool. Let's use red 900. No, that might be a little too. So how about this one? No, not, I don't like that one either. How about this guy here, red 700? Okay, let's go to my color, red 700, and actually I'm gonna show you something else super quick. Yeah, that's good, I like it. Sometimes you may want to change the color of the icon and the text. So what you do is you change the second line of the my color, and this is just hex. You can use hex up here as well. So let's see what happens. Bad color. Huh, interesting. Okay, bad color. See, we got an error, but it's not a big deal because it just isn't. Oh yeah, I didn't specify it correctly. FF, FF, FF. We need 3 colors instead of 2. Okay, so there you go. Oh, it didn't change the color of the icon. Okay, maybe we'll tweak the code of this later on, but let's put it back to black. I don't think it's necessary to make that white. So let's go 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, and this is wrong. This is actually reverse. It's just a note, but the first color is the background, the second color is the text. Okay, so let's go over our application once more. We're gonna make this white. Okay, and I don't know what happened to our drop shadow. I guess I made it too faint. And we'll put 2, 2, and 2. There you go. It'll stand out a little more. Okay, so at this point, all of our pages have controls on them, and in the next session we're gonna actually do the coding for our benchmark, and then we will display the benchmarks here, and we will run the benchmarks and display the results here, and then in the 4th session we'll wrap everything up by uploading our results to the cloud and also downloading results from the cloud. So thank you very much for joining me for this session. I hope you are getting more comfortable with the App Starter Stack by watching this series, and I look forward to completing it. Thanks very much.